What's really interesting about this new proposal from the UK government is it's a lot less nebulous than anything that we heard under Theresa May, to use that word that Jean-Claude Juncker so famously used at that council summit.
First time you've ever quoted him.
First time approvingly. But no, what's really clear about this is the government are finally being clear about that end state, about what they want the relationship with between the UK and the EU to look like in the future, and that's so much more constructive for people on all sides of this equation. So being able to say the whole point of Brexit is regulatory divergence, is being able to do things differently domestically, that's a really important thing to put out on the table, and that means that we know where we stand, we know where they stand, and people can go forward knowing that the future relationship wants to look a lot more like a free trade agreement, and that's why people like Steve Baker are coming on board. When we talk about Brexit, we forget why people backed it in the first place, and that's not just so that because we enjoy constitutional crisis. It's because there are lots of opportunities that then the country can take advantage of. I'm looking forward to the UK regaining a seat at the World Trade Organization, becoming a global leader in terms of trade policy. We'll be able to make unilateral reforms in terms of slashing import duties on goods and products that people really rely on, particularly the poorest communities in this country. So trade liberalisation, I think, is a conversation that is a really exciting one to have, and we can lead the world in.
Doesn't get the electoral juices flowing, though, does
perhaps
it? For
not,
normal voters.
only for nerds. But it does affect people in terms of how cheap things are in the country, and there are lots of other things that we can do outside the sort of straitjacket of the single market. We can have all this sort of regulatory divergence that means that we're the best place in the world for businesses to operate, for things to be sold and bought, and our economy can really shine and grow, and that's what I'm really looking forward to. Stopping talking about the politics of how we decide things and start doing things. It seems like any deal that this government negotiates with the EU, Labour MPs will find an excuse to reject from one peculiar reason or another. I remember Jeremy Corbyn gave an interview at the time that the withdrawal agreement came out. He said, it's terrible because in the backstop we would be trapped in a customs union. Well, it's Labour policy to have a customs union. He literally said that in a television interview.
What I said was there were concerns about the way in which it could lock you into a customs union from which you could never negotiate any removal.
He literally said that in a television interview. It seems that Labour MPs in so many cases don't know why they're opposing it. It's just politically convenient to do so.